Hello ladies and gentlemen, Sicko Starcraft bringing you some pro replays, Scarlett and Strelok. Some games on the RSL not too long ago. On one of their funky RSL maps, Planetary Workshop, and I've not seen too many games on this one. I don't know if the pro players are really big fans of it, because I see it very seldomly used. But it seems to make for interesting, somewhat longer games on it, despite the fact that there doesn't seem to be a lot of expansions. Anywho, we got Scarlett. One of my favorite Zerg players, just seems to be kicking so much butt right now at the top level. Very proud of her for doing such, sticking it to some of the Korean players and doing amazing. Strelok, always been there, always been pretty solid. Let's see how well he does against somebody of Scarlett's caliber. And I'd consider, of the foreign players, non-Korean Zerg players, top 5 without too much doubt. I think if you included Korean players, you wouldn't quite fit into there, but do keep it just them, I think we're going to be doing alright. See if either of these players want to do anything super funky. This is from a couple of weeks back. The metagame really hasn't shifted that much since then. Let us just find out what the intention is here. We've got no gas in the Terran before racks, so I'm not expecting any type of Reaper play right away. Likely maybe even a command center on the low ground after a Marine comes out. On this side, we're up to 15 drones, so yeah, there goes the guy to make the low ground expansion. Excuse me, having a nice pomegranate mojito as I sit back and enjoy a few replays. Haven't had a chance to cast a lot of pro replays in a while. Been pretty busy, and there also hasn't been a ton of great new content put out there replay-wise to take advantage of. I do check a lot of the regular sites to try and find interesting games to bring you guys, and usually series. This is a best of 5. Between these two, so we should be able to get at least 3 games out of this, and it should be exciting. He's going to go scout, but I wouldn't be too surprised to see another command center come down here now that a Marine is on the way out as well. Overlord positioning, fairly important. Gotta be kind of careful here. This Marine is out. I don't think he'll be able to pick off this Overlord, but it might get close actually. No, there's the little spot. They'll get a few shots in on it there, but it's going to get to its home. I like when map designers put together these kind of little funky spots here. Looks like Strelok wasn't aware that this is a hiding place for high ground units. He could lift up. It would be a big waste of time for him to lift up his barracks to go chase down that Overlord at this point, but nothing's stopping him. The fact that I saw Marines out at this point, generally, for everything I've ever seen from the pro side, means you're not getting out Reapers after that fact. Double gas going down right after that though, so we should be moving up into tech here fairly soon. Zerg player, no gas, just going to keep punching out tons and tons of drones, and just a couple of lings out on the map here. They're just going to provide a little bit of scouting, make sure nothing funky happens. I have been enjoying watching Terrans such as Polt build up something between about 8 to 10 Marines, and then just going out and pressuring the third base. It's a little curious place to put that. I don't think he'll be proxying anything. This is where the third base is going to more than likely go down, but I think that's just going to be for a little bit of a delayed scout, more than likely. He sees that bunker there, so I don't think, yeah, Scarlett's going to push in too far. She should be able to see that bunker, no problem. Good Overlord positioning. Look at the economy wise. Starting to pull ahead a little bit here for the Zerg player. There's been no harassment. This factory is going to be pumping out Hellions here pretty soon. A bit of a supply block there for Scarlett, strangely enough, which is really strange when you see that happen to pro players when there's no pressure happening to them. Generally, you're going to see that happening if they're a little bit under duress. But she doesn't look like she's going to be blocked for too long there. One should be popping in a couple seconds. 4 queens, so she should be getting a ton of creep spread happening here. Super important, I think, at the high level, though I'm starting to see... Oh, there's that barracks I was talking about. We are starting to see more players skip creep spread in the Zerg sense and just working on getting out really fast speed, getting less queens. But I just think there's so much more advantage to being able to have a couple more queens out and this creep spread. It keeps away the Hellions from the front. The creep spread in your base to be able to chase down drops if you're going into some sort of roach play. Ooh, looks like she might have tried to sneak by a scout there. No biggie. Down goes the other base. The Hellions are just there at the front. Scarlett will see those before they become too big of a nuisance. More gas is heading down. Pretty quick medevac there. Might go for some sort of Hellion lift into the main. This SV down here might have just been scouting to see if there's any vision of that. One Evo chamber for right now. See, she did take all of her gases at this point. Lair's almost finished up. Speed on the way. Now she's going to get into a little bit more unit production here. We see 6 Lings about to pop. Should be enough if she gets a couple more to perhaps deny any of this pressure. It's tasty. It's a pretty quick spire as well. The third base isn't even quite finished yet, and she just got her 4 gas. I like the positioning of it. There isn't really much good ground on this side to deal with that. She does see the medevac come in, but I don't think she's... well, she's building 1 spore. Actually in the right spot as well. So we'll see if these Widow Mines end up having an impact here. She hit a few Zerglings there, but at the cost of a couple Hellions. Much rather save the drones and lose some Lings. And Creep Spread is marching along. Let's see what the Terran player's idea here is. It's going into Mass Mech. Engineering Bay going down. Likely because he saw the spire over here. He may have glimpsed that. Depends if he clicked on it or not. And is going to need to get down a whole bunch of turrets here in the next little bit to deal with this. Going into mech. Early stage mech against any type of mutalist play is really tough to defend, because it's usually not until you're up to 3 or 4 bases that you can really get out a lot of Thors. Strelok is making 1 now. But that's not going to be mobile enough to really protect a large portion of his base. Doesn't look like this medevac got much accomplished. Only 5 mutas on the way right now. Can't really expect too much more. She hasn't taken her 5th and 6th gases yet. That's going to limit her a fair bit. Great creep spread. Loving that. Probably wouldn't be too surprised to see a 4th base happening here soon as well. Ooh, 9 mutas. Don't think that Overseer is going to get away, and the mutas aren't going to get there in time to protect it. So defense-wise, the Widow Mine's a nice touch. A Widow Mine, I believe, one-shots a single muta. The splash damage will just hurt the heck out of the rest. Sending ahead 1 muta and 1 Ling here to see if there's any type of Widow Mine play. This is kind of cute. The splash damage from the tank actually helped take out that bunker. I do like moving around the Thor with the medevac there. I think that was really cute. Doesn't end up killing any mutas with the Thor, but it did manage to snipe off a tank, a full bunker, and really put this pressure on the Terran that's going to make it difficult for him to move out. Uh-oh. There is no detection right now for Scarlett, so she's going to have to be very careful. She should be aware that there might be Widow Mines. Avast. Doesn't look like she's making too many more mutas right now. Just enough to put on a bit of pressure. Just bobbing that 1 Thor around a little bit. The Terran is going to have to really just turtle up. I mean, pretty good macro. 4 Hellbats, a tank, and the Thor all in production at once. Pretty good Widow Mine hit there. I like moving the Thor in the medevac. I think this one's cute. Gonna pick it off? Oh, almost picked it off. That actually has been really, really cool. The second Thor does come out here. The first one is gonna get Magic Box. Looks like Strelok needs to go put some pressure on you. I'm a little surprised he moved out at this stage. He's only at about 120 supply. Yeah, not quite half of that is straight in workers. But if we look at the third player, it's just now trying to produce a whole bunch of units. There really isn't much for anti-air in here other than this 1 Thor and 3 Widow Mines. Oh, Widow Mines. Well, once that Thor goes down, though, once again, that was all the anti-air except for the mines. So that puts it in a little bit of a bad spot. I'd like this one medevac running by here to try and get a few more kills. Really good work here for StrelokGame, just getting what damage you can. He is getting pushed back here and he might lose another tank. See how good Scarlett's multitasking is, so yeah, if she pulls back before losing too many, that could have been really dangerous. Moving creep spread up here to the north, this base is already getting saturated, so I really like the position Scarlett's in. Macro hatch, finally going to be going up towards the third tier of tech. Still, not a ton of mutas, not that like 30-40 muta ball we sometimes see played. With the splash damage that Terran Mech has, it's very dangerous to try to go that way. Great control. Trying to stay out of range of that missile turret as long as possible. I'm just going to try to pick away here and distract the Terran player who's still not even up on a third base. I'm surprised there isn't an overseer as part of this army just to help deal with what's going on here. There are 2 Thors at the front, so it's not like she's going to be able to get in there too easy. You still can magic box 2 Thors and do fairly cost-effective work, but it's a little risky if there are Widow Mines in there or anything like that. That's why usually as I start getting out about a handful of tanks, I usually go into straight Thor and Hellbat production and skip more tanks, just so that way there's that little bit more opportunity to get that anti-air in place against mutas. And even if they go Broodlords, high impact payloads, quite useful. Pretty good flurry of units here. Looks like she might want to go for some sort of counter, but all these tanks are still in great position. Big splash damage to the tanks and the Widow Mine. This kind of distraction play is nice. It is trying to do the magic box here at the front. Be very wise for her to pull some SCVs to come repair this. Looks like these queens are actually doing a great distraction job on this other Thor. Everything is getting picked up by StrelokGame, so it's a tough call for me to think if that was worthwhile. There wasn't really that much economic damage. Looks like she threw away a lot of resources and didn't get a lot done. Yeah, there's the Greater Spire. I was going to say that's more than likely going to be her tech choice. There's not been this big commitment to starport play. There's not even a reactor on this one starport. So going into Broodlords against mech is very effective, whereas going Ultra against well-upgraded mech, pretty tough. I know, because I've won a lot of late-game Terran versus Zergs with mech, using just the vastness and the strength of that mech army. Pretty grouped up here with the mutas. It's going to magic box and attempt to take these, but with the SCVs in repair, this is a very interesting kind of, we call like bad trading Zerg here. It's not that cost effective, but it's doing such a good job of keeping this Terran player just held back, and it looks like it's finally had enough, but there's once again no anti-air in this army. Zergling's going to help here. Surprised she hasn't started bringing back those mutas, because nothing's going to deal with an airbase response here. Yeah, the mutas are on. Oh boy. Great Widow Mine hit there. This base is going to be sacked. She's already pulled the workers. Getting another base down here. Wow. Why not? Unfortunately, there's not a lot of mutas here, so it's going to take a while for them to knock down this mech, which has got +1 armor on it already. Pretty good amount of kills on these Hellbats here. But once again, these Zerglings are not going to do well. These are blue flame upgraded Hellbats. These Zerglings aren't even really getting close. They're almost getting one-shot by all this army. Oh, 2 Thors came in here. That's to shut down the mutas. Brood Lords are in play now. I would expect the Terran player is going to have to fall back soon. I think the handful of meters will at least get this base cleaned up here. But Zerglings are almost a waste of time at this point. I mean, she's got some minerals left over, but in the grand scheme of things, all they're going to be is just throwing away free money. Just down here for the gas. This is really the limiting factor of a late game Zergling player. It's nice as a Protoss player in the late game, you can just pump out tons of Zealots. They're still super useful in the late game for run-bys and attacks. But right now, these Zerglings really aren't going to get a lot done with the way the Terran player is set up. You might be able to do a run-by in there, but if you get hit by a Widow Mine or sieged up tanks, you're in a world of hurt. Creep spread is telling the Zerg player what the Terran is up to right now. Making another big pile of Brood Lords. There's going to be a ton in play. We're getting 4 Vikings at a time, however. Actually, yeah, there's no upgrades on, sorry, any additions onto those things. Mutas are significantly losing value. The slowness of this Brood Lord army is disturbing. I don't think he's aware of the bottom right base, though. He's not, which is quite fascinating. Neither of these players have really gotten that close to maxing out this entire time. She doesn't have burrow for her drones, unfortunately, so it looks like they're all going to die. Looks like she did get a little bit of a Zergling run by here. Vikings are going to land and try and take care of that. This complete lack of mobility here out of this massive Zerg army, air army, is really setting her back. And I don't know what all of her corruptors are either. Does she have many in play? 4. Against what? Sorry, what's the Viking count here? 12. So you gotta be very careful. Scarlett's not in the best position. If she gets caught a little bit off guard here, could be pretty big trouble. She is building the infestors, which can be pretty important. It's that old school Wings of Liberty composition, Brood Lord infestor. See, there's a huge bank in gas right now for Scarlett, but minerals wise, she's started quite a bit. She's only got 39 workers still in existence. Like the last minute transfused. Pretty impressive Viking fleet, and they do get that armor upgrade off of the mech that StrelokGame's building up. So again, there's just not enough corruptors, I feel, in this army. She's gonna have to hit some sick fungals if she's gonna deal with this. Her saving grace is that Terran is getting pretty mined out here. I think for the first time in like 20 minutes, the Terran does have a supply lead. That's a don't use the infestor. Oh, she didn't get pathogen glands either. I think she's got enough fungals saved up right now, but a lot of her units are stacked. Pretty good spread on the Vikings. That's not a bad combo right there. Losing a lot of overlords in this. Pretty big supply lock could happen. No overlord production either. Yeah, she's way... well, she's about to lose a ton of units probably, so that's going to help her a little bit. Unfortunately, she just might have to just sack all the Brood Lords. It sucks. But she's going to have to try and kill off this mech army as best as she can. Where we see that these Brood Lords are just dying in numbers. So many Vikings to play. This is generally where an alternate transition is really awesome for us. With the roaches down here, I don't know if landing these Vikings is very worthwhile. She is cleaning up quite a bit with that. Sorry, Strelok is. This base is like the last thing that really is giving any income to Scarlett here. It's down by 30 supplies. I like this, using these Vikings for anything you can, picking off whatever units you can. At least the pathogen glands is finished. They'll help out a lot. These Vikings aren't really that useful anymore. Wow, that is a lot of Vikings. Yep, 14. We don't see any more air commitment. What would be pretty slick actually is to maybe come around behind and get some infested turrets or something up here. Pretty oversaturated at this one base here for workers. Once again, the Terran really hasn't put too much commitment into getting another base. Creep hitting up a lot of these, and I don't think that he's still aware. No, he should be aware pretty quick actually. He's got a couple units heading down to the bottom.
Got
you see it?
Firepower? Hell that, coming through.
Yeah, he does. That's got to be a bad feeling. Units are moving down here to try to intercept. At least there's some spines here. Not a lot of tanks, a lot of Vikings in play. He's dead, essentially. Damage done all these, but this is the last thing that's getting Scarlett any money here. So, ooh. Wow. Infested Terrans are nowhere near as good as they used to be without getting the upgrades or anything in place. They're just... I've very seldomly seen Infested Terrans really make the difference in anything. He's gonna float down his main command center to take that base. Couple bucks left up here. What do we got? 600 bucks. It's enough to afford a new CC. I do like that the creep spreader across this whole game has never really slowed down. It is essentially half the map. Where is Scarlett mining from? I think that's the last patch that she's long distance mining. Still nothing but infestors. Half the supply of the Terran. Infestors used to be good enough that you could just turn a game around with infestors. But unfortunately she doesn't have the vision of what's going on. Otherwise she'd probably be able to hit some pretty sick bungles and help turn things around. Moving this Overlord back to spew creep would be very worthwhile. That's a nice fungal. Those were not nice fungals. Once that base cleans up for creep though, there's going to be a big hammer of mules come down. It'd be nice if she had some burrow in there. I know there are missile turrets around everywhere, but just sometimes sharking it is pretty fun. It's interesting they lost a creep tumor as well because she threw the infested terror next to it. Ready to land, Strelok. Strelok also has to play pretty conservative. I mean, the mule hammer is now going down. So let's just watch this income about to explode here. Yeah, it's pretty much doubled. I don't know how many that was taken there. A little bit of maybe a base trade. I don't think that the... I think that the command center is going to get away before that really does anything. Ooh, maybe not. Wow, that actually worked a lot better than I thought it would. Shut my mouth wide open. I still think Scarlett's dead. Like, don't get me wrong. But this is still a pretty interesting stand that she's trying to make. That is a lot of infected there. You know. They are getting pretty ripped to shreds though, unfortunately. That goes almost all the energy. Yeah, that's GG. Did a good try there, Scarlett. But that's the power of the mech. Thanks everybody for tuning in. That was game 1. I should have the rest of the games coming up for you guys here real soon.